Greetings. As the mayor of the City of Miramar, it's been a very humbling and exciting experience, leading our city as one of the most progressive, innovative, and safest cities in Florida. Over the past few months, I've literally been traveling the country bragging about the City of Miramar, our amazing residents, and all of the accomplishments we've achieved together. Now, as an elected official, we have an opportunity to have many initiatives to impact our community. And I focus my initiatives on our youth and families, the business community, and the city's infrastructure. Annually, I have an aviation academy that's held in the summer, along with the Aviation Expo that's held in December, also paired with the My Brother's Keepers program, which is a mentorship program that prepares our youth for high-paying jobs, mentorship opportunities with businesses, or even start a business. I am just so happy with the relationship I have with Florida Vocational Institute and their Tech Launch program, where we do a technology boot camp every summer. It's a free program for Miramar youth so that they can be exposed and learn technical skills and STEM skills in the areas of coding, networking, virtualization. These are all important tools and skills that will be needed in the gig economy. My next initiative is the Mayor Messam's Run Club. It is a great initiative for residents who want to stay fit, who want to run with other residents early in the morning so that you can get the best life that you deserve.
Mayor Messam Run Club, come join us! Yay!
As a small business owner myself, I know the importance of having a sustainable and strong economic development climate in a city. Over 90% of all businesses in Broward County are made up of small businesses. And with the results of the Miramar Disparity Study, it has birthed the city's Business Inclusion and Diversity Program, which will lay the foundation to increase and foster business opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses. A brand new initiative that I'm launching this year is the Mayor's Business Council. You know, we tout that Miramar has more Fortune 500 companies than any city in South Florida, and that's something we're very proud of. But I want to ensure that we remain that way for the next 20 and 40 years. The Mayor's Business Council will comprise of CEOs and executives from our large and medium-sized businesses, as well as some of our small businesses located right here in the city of Miramar. This diversity of entrepreneurial and corporate intellect will be able to advise my office of important policy needs to ensure that our business community is being served. The Mayor's Business Council will be an excellent opportunity for our small business owners because they'll have an opportunity to provide issues that are relevant to them while being able to network with medium and large companies and perhaps can be their supply chain. Back in 2013, I received a lot of political heat for promoting and being the face of the 2013 revenue bond, which was a $60 million funding loan to address many strategic city construction and deferred maintenance projects. Because of that investment in the city, Miramar now enjoys the state-of-the-art brand new police headquarters providing the best in public safety to our residents, a covered amphitheater at Miramar Regional Park, an adult daycare center, citywide improvements to our parks including Monarch Lakes, Vizcaya, and the Shirley Branca Bandshell in historic Miramar. Now, as the mayor, it is important to me to see all of these projects come to a very successful completion. It is about the residents having venues and infrastructure that will support the needs of our city. I look forward to our continued journey. Take care, and God bless Miramar. We have had an exciting and successful past fiscal year, and I am just, every time I look at all of the accomplishments that our various departments were sending over in terms of objectives that were achieved, we really had a chore in terms of what we could fit on your brochure that you have that lists all of our department successes, which therefore says how successful our city is. And I'm just so proud of our city staff and all of the accomplishments we've been able to do as a community. So at this time, I do want to take a brief moment and recognize every department. I'm not going to go over all of their accomplishments that you see on the screen. There's about a few screens after this, but we actually had to abbreviate all of the accomplishments of our staff. But I want to recognize our city clerk and the city clerk's office. Let's give them a round of applause. Our office, the office of the city manager, Vernon E. Hargray. I know who's here. Our cultural affairs department, this is their home. We're in their baby, and they bring all sorts of cultural entertainment and resources to the community. Community development that does all of our planning, our building officials, and all of the planning for the city of Miramar. Community services that takes care of all of the important social service needs in our community. Let's give them a round of applause. Economic and business development. This is a new department we actually founded. It was very important for us to start this department because as Miramar at one point was the fastest growing city in America. So a lot of our community and economic services needs were more so on the planning side. But now that we've become a mature city, we have to make sure that we continue to nurture economic activity, and it's very fitting to have this new department, and we're looking to see their long list of accomplishments in the upcoming fiscal year. Our business inclusion diversity program, that was noted earlier. We did a disparity study in the city of Miramar, and we saw that women-owned and minority business were not getting their equitable share of contracting opportunities, and we're looking for the maturing of policies to make sure that we correct that. Engineering services that deals with our trafficking and all of our infrastructure needs. Financial services department, yes. One half of our first responders, the Miramar Fire Rescue Department. Human resources, we have over 1,000 employees and they're a handful to manage, so we have the best professionals managing that. Information technology, thanks for providing us our networking, our computers, and protecting us from especially all the cyber threats. You would not imagine all of the attacks on our information systems that we receive from the outside to try to penetrate our data. And we thank you for being that stopgap for us. Management and budget. They're probably the least favorite department because they tell everyone they can't spend the money that they think they have, right? Marketing and communications. Let's give them a round of applause. Parks and Recs department. They keep us physically fit. Yes. And the other half of our first responders, the police department, Miramar PD. Yes. Procurement, everything that we need. We have to go through procurement to make sure that we have the right resources for the city. And wow, Public Works. We can't say thank you enough for all that you do in the community. And our support services department. And our very hard-working utilities department. I mean, they do some hard work, because all we do is when we wake up, we turn on a faucet and we want clean water, right? Right? And then when we use the other services, we expect it to disappear and go away, right? Well, someone has to manage all of that, so we thank them for all that they do. So we're going to quickly take a look over the past year, and we'll cover 3 areas: economic development, our business climate, and the quality of life for our residents. So first, let's look at our business climate. I can truly say that our business climate is very strong and continues to grow. Did you know Miramar continues to have one of the fastest growing economies in the country for a city of our size? Yes, we do. We're creating and continue to create high-paying jobs in the city of Miramar. We're actually diversifying our economy. Miramar is known for a very heavy and successful aviation sector, but our health sciences sector is growing. We have a growing technology sector where we've been able to attract and grow information technology companies. And we still claim the most Fortune 500 companies in any city in the Tri-County area. Many people still don't realize that, but that's a great success for us to have. So when you look over the last 4 years, from 2014 to 2019, there's been $323 million in capital investment, meaning companies that have come here, built their businesses here to operate. We've added over 1.2 million square feet of space, over 1,600 high-paying jobs, averaging $65,000 or more per year. that supports the middle class in our community. And what I really like is just in this past year, 370 new small businesses were birthed in the city of Miramar. So we are really busy. And we get the time. This is just a sample of the types of brands and companies that are in the city of Miramar. We couldn't even fit all of them on the screen. So we really have a lot to be thankful for. And the reason why we're able to house and be the home of all of these businesses is because of strategic planning to decide to put a focus and emphasis on going light industrial office space opposed to big box retails. Like, for example, Pembroke Pines. They tend to have the malls, the shopping. We always get the complaints, well, why don't we have all the fancy restaurants in Miramar? Well, that was a strategy for Pembroke Pines. Our strategy was to build millions of square feet of office space, of industrial space, and retail space. And because of that, I'll take our high-paying jobs, and nothing against retail jobs, nothing against restaurant jobs, because those are jobs that put food on the table for people, and we're not discriminating against that. But we're in a stronger position when we can actually provide high-paying jobs for our residents because they can afford to live in the city of Miramar and be able to build and get the quality of life and achieve the American dreams for each respective family. I want to highlight a couple of businesses that are coming up in developments. Some of our last remaining open space is being developed. And Monarch Town Center is actually on the northwest intersection of Flamingo Road and Miramar Parkway. And it will be anchored by another Publix and Ross. Some folks are saying, well, why is Publix building another Publix and they just have another Publix right down in Monarch Lakes? Well, they're smart. Because they know if they don't build a Publix, then maybe a Winn-Dixie will get there, or a Whole Foods will get there, and you'll see soon another shopping center is coming across the street to compete against them. So that shows how confident that Publix is in Miramar, that they're willing to build another Publix not more than a mile away from another Publix, because they know that they have the support. The Grove, which is located on the southeast intersection of Miramar Boulevard, just a quarter mile north of that same intersection. It's well on its way. This is one of the more recent pictures you see here, probably taken just this week. They're putting in the landscaping right now. It has 27,000 square feet of retail shopping, and it's very conveniently located for and providing an additional shopping experience and services for Central Miramar. The Mega Center, probably saying, well, where's the Mega Center? Well, the Mega Center is just south of the Turnpike, right between the Hard Rock Stadium and our side of the Turnpike. It's 267 square feet office, warehouse, and self-storage, right off of Riviera Boulevard. You can access it off of University. And it provides additional space for businesses to come. And we're really excited about that prospects. Miramar Station. Remember I told you Publix was afraid of another shopping center coming? Well, there's Aldi. Aldi is coming right across the street. And we're getting another Chick-fil-A. I don't know. It's something they put in that meat. I don't know what it is, right? You cannot go to a Chick-fil-A and there are not at least 50 cars in queue. But our planning department made sure that they made provisions to have all of those cars. I know everybody was freaking out about Popeyes and their sandwich, their chicken sandwich that they have, and now that it's out of stock, you can't find it anywhere, but you're going to get your chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A, and they'll give it to you within 5 minutes of you joining that 50-car queue. So we're really excited about that, and it'll also have some apartments in the development. Now, for point of reference, this was the old site where the entire city went up in arms over 10 years ago because Walmart wanted to build a Walmart there, and no one wanted Walmart in that facility. Wild times have changed, right? But now we have a great mixed-use development. Now, the gateway of our community, right here on Red Road and Miramar Parkway, we have a tremendous opportunity of development, and the property owners there are very strategic and conservative in terms of their approach, in terms of what would be what should be there. And one of the developments that is coming and currently right now in permitting is Altus. Altus is another mixed-use development it's on the northwest intersection of Miramar Parkway and Red Road. It's 650 units, 50,000 square feet of commercial and retail. I think a Flanagan's restaurant is already committed there, and there'll be other retail operators in that section. Another great feature, though, in this development is it will be a linear park that will be open to the community. And there's actually a bike trail that's located on the northern part of that development, and you can access it just right here off of Town Center. So that's going to be a very, very good project to help define the entry of our city. Now, let's look at the hotel corridors at I-75 and the Turnpike. 10 years ago, hotel rooms were scarce in the city of Miramar. Now, as you see along I-75, all the brands that are there, and in fact, there's another Hilton brand called True that is coming, a new Holiday Inn Express is coming as well. And then when you travel over to Turnpike and I-75, Spring Hill Suites has just opened up, Hampton Inns is there, Wood Spring Suites has just opened up, and in this site right here, there's communication right here for another number of hotel units that will come in that development. So now we have nearly 1,000 hotel rooms in the city of Miramar. And believe it or not, we actually need more. When you think about all the businesses that are here, all the families that are here, families are hosting family reunions, Thanksgivings, holidays. So these hotel rooms are needed. Now moving on to economic development. You see numbers on these screens, and if this room was full of analysts, they would be jumping up, clapping, screaming, because they know that these are metrics that shows a very strong city. 3.2% unemployment rate. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. No city has 0% unemployment rate. But in the city of Miramar, pretty much everyone who wants to work has a job, even though we continue to work hard to get those a job who currently do not have a job. And it's really important to emphasize the fact. And our rate actually beats Broward County and all of the state. Almost 8,000 building permits were issued last year, in excess of over $250 million in construction value. What that means is that there are companies, property owners that are either renovating their property or building new projects in the city of Miramar. That continues to fuel our growth because the demand is that high. Myself and our colleagues, one of the biggest challenges we have is when residents, when each of you say, well, I'm paying too much in property taxes. Well, first, we're only responsible for 1/3 of your property taxes. So make sure you crowd up and see Ms. Good at the school board, and you go to Broward County and talk to them as well. But on average, over the last 5 years, your homes have appreciated nearly 8% 5 years running. That is amazing. And what that means is that the demand to live in Miramar continues to grow because we have excellent schools, we have excellent facilities, excellent parks, and jobs are here in our community. And we also continue to enjoy a very strong credit rating by the industry raters. So why did they come? Well, first, it's our central location. Miramar is 30 minutes from everywhere. 30 minutes to MIA, 30 minutes to Fort Lauderdale Airport, to both seaports. You can touch Palm Beach County and Boca in 30 minutes. So access is great. We have I-75 coming through Miramar, the Turnpike coming through Miramar. So our location could not be a better location. So we're conveniently located. Also, we're Platinum City. When the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance is going across the country, attracting businesses to move to Broward County, guess who's the #1 city, or the first city that they contact? It's Miramar, because we expedite permitting, we have a supply of space for the businesses, whether they're industrial or office. We can accommodate them. We have a foreign trade zone just right down the street. I'm really looking hard to attract international businesses to come. You know, I'm glad to have our friend Mayor Williams here from Kingston, who we're always talking, we're always introducing businesses here and in Jamaica to inform them about our foreign trade zone so that we can see how we can get more import and export exchange so that we can create jobs here and have a great mutually benefiting relationship. We have many corporate attractive incentives. The state of Florida gives job creation incentives. We match with Broward County. And we also have our own city job creation incentives to help attract businesses. And we'll talk about this later with our Economic Development Fund, small business assistant programs. We've always had those programs, but now we're in a position to even expand those offerings because of the action of the Miramar City Commission. So let's hear from a couple of our local businesses on why they like Miramar and what they'll like to see.
My name is Ralph Mason, and I'm the owner and operator of Coconuts Fusion Cafe in Miramar. There was no vegetarian restaurants in Miramar, so that is what attracted us to Miramar and the people. We know that it was a Caribbean community, and we wanted to serve the Caribbean community. Personally, we have to say we are blessed. That's the word we use to describe our success. When we're blessed, we can help others, and that's something that we here at this restaurant, Coconuts, been able to do. You know, the road, 441, that was the first thing that we were so happy that the road was fixed, and we got new roads and the new drainage system, because you know we have flooding systems flooding all the time in Miramar, especially in this area. So we were happy that the road was completed, and the time that it completed in also. We were waiting that for a very long time. So one item I would be looking at to see that the city would provide is low-income housing and lower taxes for business, so they can attract good and quality employees, so they don't have to go all the time, go outside of the city to hire people. They can find people. People will want to come and work in the city of Miramar. Keep the hope alive, and those are the things we want to build on and leave that legacy for the future and future generation. It doesn't matter how much generation have to come, we want to leave that dream here, that everyone can participate in American economy.
The City of Miramar is a city that is growing and thriving. One of the companies helping the City of Miramar grow is the Related Group. And today we'll be speaking to the VP of Development, Mr. Ron Melendez. So I'm so excited to be speaking to you because Related Group is everywhere. First, explain to everyone, what is Related Group?
Related Group is a commercial developer. We've been established in the late 70s. We've been building over close to 100,000 condominium units and rental apartment units, affordable housing units.
So how did the relationship with Miramar first start?
We responded to an RFP in September of 2018, and that's where the relationship began. So we purchased 3.7 acres of land in Miramar, and our intent is to build 400 units, 8-story tower with a parking garage that supports the residents. It's a mixed-use development. So ground level will have retail that aligns with the purpose of the local community, and we have residential units for development as well.
Usually, how long does a project take to see this beautiful creation?
Well, a classic development cycle from cradle to grave, from infancy to turnover, is about 3 years to 4 years. The construction process itself is going to take about 18 months to build, but it's going to take us a year to get to the point where we start construction. So in the 18-month process, we'll begin turning over units and residents moving in and retail spaces being occupied, adding value to the community, and it will continue in a phased turnover process through about 24 months in itself.
How has your experience with the related group been working with Miramar?
The City of Miramar staff has been fabulous, absolutely fantastic to work with. You know, what we like most as a group here at the Related Group in partnering with Miramar is their purpose in having an alignment in terms of vision and drive. And there are a few metrics that we keep in mind when we're developing in a community. We think through population growth metrics, we think through job growth metrics. Miramar has them both, and they're doing it in such a robust way. Population has grown in Miramar twice-fold in less than 10 years, and we see continued growth coming into Miramar because of the neighboring communities. Miramar being the economic engine of Broward County, it's bringing in Fortune 500 businesses and major corporations, electronic companies, technology companies, healthcare companies, advanced manufacturing companies, and the main thoroughfares that pass through Miramar are pretty robust in nature and developed. It's an environment where people can truly live, work, play, and entertain.
I couldn't have said it better, right? How many of you drove here? You probably parked in the parking lot across the street. Well, next year, life sparing, I don't know where you're going to park because that's where that building's going. So I'm just kidding. You will have a place to park. You will have a place to park. But it will complete Town Center. Block 2 is the final block to complete Town Center. And we have a wonderful developer that will bring a great product to that block. Now, my favorite part, residents' quality of life, because that's what it's really about in terms of our success over the year. Look at all those points. I won't go into all of them, but over the last year, we've done citywide renovations to our parks, and they continue. We opened up Monarch Lakes Park. We refurbished Island Drive that had some damage and some mishaps during the hurricane. One of the vendors cut down all of our beautiful trees, and we had to go in and redo. That was a chore, you know, making those claims with that contractor. We already talked about the appreciation of a property appreciation. We've done significant improvements in terms of our infrastructure out in historic East Miramar, and we'll discuss that in a bit. In fact, we've spent and are spending $160 million in infrastructure in East Miramar. We always hear that we want the East to look like the West. Well, that probably won't happen because those neighborhoods were built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So architecturally, it's just different. But that does not mean that we can't have the best infrastructure. When it rains, it doesn't flood. That doesn't mean that we can't have the best and cleanest water, right? And it doesn't mean that we can't fix our roadways so the communities are pleasing and attractive. And we are doing that as a city commission in the city of Miramar. We're actually PACE. PACE is a program that's quietly allowing residents to weatherize their homes, harden their homes, to put impact windows, to repair their roofs, to improve their HVAC or air conditioning systems, to more high efficiency units, to lower their water bills while keeping their indoor interior climates pleasant for their homes. And we've done over 1,100 projects that Miramar residents have been able to do through that program. So I thank the Miramar Commission for having that vision and that insight to implement that program. Now this next slide, we talked about the census 2020. It is vital that everyone in Miramar stands up and be counted. Why? There's $675 billion from the federal government that is at stake. And the larger our population is, the more say we have in terms of getting those dollars. It will be quick, it will be easy. Look forward to seeing more information coming from our city regarding how you can conveniently and easily be counted, because it'll help fund our hospitals, our schools, our roadways, and housing. So it's important when you get that package in the mail that your family and your household responds. So let's look at some of the residential activity. That is the 8-story development that's coming right across the street. If you were to stand right by, let's say if you're at the Dunkin' Donuts looking back towards City Hall, there's City Hall there, that's the parking lot, and this is the development that will come, the mixed use. It will be residential on the top floors, retail on the bottom floor, synergizing across the street, and on this side. So we're really excited about this development for Block 2. We talked about the high-paying jobs and appreciation, but this is the activity on the residential side. So let's look at some of the residential developments that are on the way in the city of Miramar, because it's very active. When we look at historic Miramar, because we always hear about historic Miramar. So we're putting to rest that nothing's being done in East Miramar, because there is. Habitat for Humanity has several developments going on. My colleagues were able to participate in a groundbreaking ceremony just a couple of months ago. Palms at Miramar, located at Southwest 64th and 27th Street, 9 units there. Positano Villas, 35 units, right by Snake Warriors Island Park. That's coming, that's on 62nd. Martin Apartments, another 8 units. These are some, modern-looking buildings in East Miramar that will be providing residential units for our residents, affordable and workforce housing. Because that's one of the big challenges. When you're redeveloping an area in a community, one of the challenges is there going to be gentrification that's going to take place. People in the community that have lived there for years no longer now can afford to live in their communities that's been home for them for generations. But we're working very hard as a city commission to ensure that developments have a certain number of affordable units. And I want to put a spotlight on a couple of affordable units for our most vulnerable and prized population. That's our senior population. St. John the Blessed, the Miami Archdiocese, has in planning across from Miramar Regional Park 113 senior affordable housing units. They're doing an application for a tax credit development with the state of Florida to build these units where this will be affordable housing. This won't be a country club where you got to be rich and paid to be able to afford to be in there. They will be mandated to provide a certain percentage to very low income, and perhaps maybe a couple of market rate units. But a majority of these units will be affordable units for our seniors, because many of our seniors call us every day to say that they cannot find a place in Miramar to reside. Pinnacle is a P3. What is a P3? Well, it's simply a public-private partnership. State of Florida allows municipal governments to leverage their resources with the private sector to solve problems in our communities. 100+ senior affordable units. It's going to be on the north side of Miramar Parkway and Douglas Road. That's the location of our old police headquarters that got damaged in Wilma back in 2005. Right next door to the adult daycare center. It will be specifically for senior affordable housing, and we're really excited about this prospects. Najiba Gardens. We just had a groundbreaking a few months ago, not groundbreaking, but a ribbon cutting. A developer in East Miramar he has 2 phases, just finished phase 1. It's located 64th Avenue and 26th Street. These are affordable housing. These are beautiful looking developments in nice neighborhoods in East Miramar. So these developments are making it possible for Miramar residents to stay in Miramar and not be pushed out because of market rate. And that's a big challenge for us. Just last year, we were shocked when we found out that Miramar was the least affordable city in all of Florida. Can you believe that? The least affordable. It's not a laughing matter, because to be a vibrant and strong community, you have to have a diversity of housing stock for everyone on every level of the socioeconomic ladder. We cannot be a community of the haves and have-nots. And that's why working hard to provide solutions for affordable housing is important. And boy, everyone knows that the city of Miramar can put on some events, right? So these are the upcoming city events that's coming up next year, so stay tuned. We have our staple events, and we try our best to bring the community together to have fun activities in the city of Miramar. public safety is key for the quality of life for our residents. And we broke ground on the public safety facility in historic Miramar, right next door to H.D. Perry by the swimming pool, right? We'll soon have a police station on the east side of town. Miramar is very linear. We have our brand new state-of-the-art police headquarters here at Town Center and Sunset Lakes. We have our West District office, and now on the east side of town, we'll also have another public safety facility that will have a community room where community organizations can meet, and the community can be assured that there is a police presence in the community. And boy, we have a fantastic cultural season coming up here in the Cultural Center. Last Saturday, who was here for the Tasha Cobbs concert? It was not a concert, it was a worship experience. She tore the house down by opening up our doors and having the presence of the Lord fill the halls of this theater. It was a wonderful experience, and everyone who was here can attest to that. And as you can see, we have performances like Layla Hathaway, Babyface, Africa Umoja. We have ballet coming, we have symphony coming, we have drumline coming. We just have a very great lineup for our cultural season for this year. And our parks. Our park system in Miramar is perhaps the most utilized service that we offer here in the city of Miramar. We have over 40. And over the past year, we've resurfaced at Anson Park the tennis courts, several basketball courts, and we will have an upcoming skate park that's coming, and the highly anticipated BART Park that will be at Regional Park. You will be surprised how many dog owners, dog lovers, their sons and their daughters, yes, their sons, and that's what they call them. I don't have any dogs. But dogs are a part of families, and they are so ecstatic about the dog park, and our teens are really looking forward to the skate park that will be coming forward as well. And the Miramar Amphitheater has basically transformed entertainment in the city of Miramar. This past weekend was the Creole Cultural Fest, perhaps the largest international performing lineup that has ever performed in Miramar. And in November 10th, the Grace Jamaican Jerk Festival is coming to Miramar at the amphitheater. We don't have to drive all the way to Sunrise anymore and deal with the mile-long walk out of that parking area to get to the food and the music. So we're really excited about the Grace Jamaican Jerk Festival that will come up. And you can get tickets here at the Cultural Center and at the amphitheater on Ticketmaster.com. So make sure to get your tickets before they sell out. Now that we've gone over last year and our successes, we have a lot to celebrate because we did it together as a community. And we're already working hard on this current year. But I think it's always great to give just a brief history on how we got here. Because we had some turbulent times. We had some turbulent times, and we can never forget. So let's take a look back at what happened. Back in 2008, we were hit with a financial crisis. And nationally, the auto industry was in peril. The financial markets were in peril. President Barack Obama was elected, and what was his first action he had to do before calamity hit? He had to bail out who? Wall Street, right? Then he had to follow that up and bail out the auto industry, right? Those were some turbulent times, but what did that mean for us here in Miramar? In 2009, the foreclosure period hit us hard. Miramar was perhaps one of the hardest hittest communities in terms of foreclosures, because people, two-income households now became one. People were losing their homes. Many of them had these subprime mortgages, which was part of that financial fiasco, with escalating interest rates that forced them to lose their homes. Blue line represents our property values. Orange, our population. What was unique to Miramar was as our property values were decreasing, our population continued to grow. And that became a challenge. And why is that? Well, it had negative impacts on our general fund. More users more demands on our services. When our property values were going down, that means our general fund also decreased. So we had a lot of deferred maintenance. We couldn't make repairs in the community. Our roads were bad, our parks were bad. Our new buildings that were now 10 and 15 years old now, roofs started to leak. The commission could not raise taxes on families that were losing their homes, right? So you can see the dilemma that our city commission and city staff was faced with as a growing population. And that was unique to Miramar. Additional challenges we had was that we didn't have a home for our police headquarters. Because in Wilma in 2005, we had to condemn the building. We had to vacate. Our police department was renting in a commercial space, not adequate for a police department, paying nearly $500,000 a year for rent. That was an unsustainable situation to be in. Didn't have a home for Fire Station 107 for our central area of the city, where our response times were not acceptable, when seconds could determine life or death. We didn't have an economic development fund, and the city of Miramar does not have a CRA. When the opportunity presented itself, the commission at the time decided not to take advantage of that. So we did not have an alternative funding source to meet the needs of the community outside of the general fund, which is funded by you, the taxpayer. And aging infrastructure, especially out east. Initial infrastructure that was initially built in the 50s and the 60s had never been expanded. So when it rained, it flooded, right? These were our challenges. So what did we do? Well, the first thing we did was we invested in ourselves. We invested in Miramar. In 2013, the Miramar City Commission passed a revenue bond. The revenue bond was secured by developments that we knew were coming in Miramar, because whenever the real estate market goes down and property values goes down, people like Related and Pinnacle, that's when they start picking up property because it's cheaper. And now we can start building apartments because people aren't buying homes anymore because of all the foreclosures. Well, we need to build multifamily. So we knew we had thousands of units coming online. There's impact fees that were coming. So instead of asking you, the taxpayer, and raising your tax rates, we got a loan secured and backed by the anticipated impact fees that was coming into the city. And that was able to fund our new police headquarters that we enjoy right now. It built several parks. It built Fire Station 107. It built the amphitheater. It built infrastructure projects. So what else did we do? We invested $160 million in our infrastructure in East Miramar because we knew that West was built out, and whenever the city builds out, then it becomes redevelopment. Well, you're not going to attract the developers that we just saw that's providing these affordable housing units if our streets are flooding. So we had to invest in our stormwater management system, our water distribution lines, and consider putting a public safety facility out east. We had to do all the unsexy things to lay the groundwork for the future of our city. We've completed phase 1, $22 million. Phase 2, $4.7 million. Phase 3, $22.7 we've done. We're currently right now working just east of the Turnpike, and we still have phase 5 and 4 to do to improve the infrastructure in East Miramar. But what are the benefits? Neighborhood enhancements, increasing property values, quality of life. This was a reality for many residents, flooding every time it rained, to now where we've gotten proper storm drainage in our communities. So if you ever hear someone says that nothing is being done in East Miramar, you need to check them, because you see it. And we have the proof to show it, because we definitely get the phone calls. Now people are calling us not because it's flooding, because they're complaining about the contractor broke their sprinkler line, or they can't drive in their driveway because they're putting in piping on their streets. But those are the growing pains of progress. I briefly illustrated what we had to do first. Before we can do vertical improvements, that's what you see. When you see the Starbucks or the new Caribbean restaurant in the new building, that's what you see. But before you see that, we have to do all of this heavy lifting first to get it in. That's the $160 million. Streetscape work, 20.5. We have the state-of-the-art brand new East Water Treatment Plant. How many cities we hear in terms of Flint, Michigan, Jackson, Mississippi, they have lead in their water. They have aging infrastructure. We have perhaps the newest water utility in America providing the cleanest and purest water right here in East Miramar. Another 108 in infrastructure, totaling nearly $160 million from Miramar. And when you factor in the state of Florida Department of Transportation improvements of $35 million, nearly $200 million that's being invested to ensure that all of Miramar is fitting for our motto of beauty and progress. The other thing we did is we worked together, listening to our city staff, getting creative ideas. First, starting with our budget process. It's always a challenge every year. Every elected official wants to see how we can continue to provide the quality and the level of service for you as residents without raising your taxes. And that's a chore because we have competing demands on limited resources. So our budget and management department has limited the use of budget amendments. They don't exist anymore. If you sit in our budget hearings, they just don't exist anymore. That's why they're not the most favorite department, because we don't do budget amendments. We have year-round budget assessments to make sure that budget line items are holding. And where we need to make tweaks, we make tweaks, but it's basically off of necessity and not just because of want. So we're living within our means in the city of Miramar. And a big juggernaut is public safety. Public safety is our largest line item to ensure that you are safe. And it is a challenge to meeting these increasing demands. So to have a reliable funding source to ensure that we can meet that demand is critical. Now, one of my favorite programs that I'm so happy under the leadership of our city manager, the CARE program, which stands for the Comprehensive Assessment, Revenues, and Expenses. In short, what this means is that listen to the people that do the work every day to solve our challenges, to get our ideas. Just because we're government doesn't mean that we have to move slow like one. It doesn't mean that we can't have an entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm going to share a couple of ideas that came out of the CARE program because they meet weekly, I think, to talk about ideas on how to make our city better, identifying alternative revenue sources to become more efficient. That's what's so important with this program. So let's take a look at something that's coming. Billboards. Billboards was the boogeyman of the city of Miramar. You drive in Miramar right now, you won't find one. I'll give you $100 if you find one, right? It's built in our code. You will not find a billboard. But when you think about it, though, you have to be smart. All it was is that residents just did not want billboards in their neighborhoods. They didn't want to walk out their front door in their backyard and see advertisements. But when you think about having the Turnpike, I-75, these major expressways going through our community, look at the potential. We put an RFP out, and because of ideas coming from staff, challenging the old way we used to think, now not one billboard will be seen from someone's house, and we'll generate $30 million over 20 years. That's $30 million that we don't have to tax you to meet the needs of the city. Here's some other ideas. We already gave ideas about the P3s and how we are thinking outside of the box and working with the private community to help solve our needs. I remember when I ran for office to be a city commissioner in 2011, being a general contractor and working with a lot of sustainable contracts, I had the idea that we can utilize our recycled water, like your number 1 and number 2 material that gets cleaned. We could sell that to other cities. We could sell the purple pipes you see, it provides irrigation. Instead of using clean drinking water, we use recycled, reclaimed water to irrigate our right-of-ways. But that didn't quite really work because we have to connect to other utilities. But the concept did. And our staff in the utilities department found a need with our other neighboring utilities that don't have new state-of-the-art water treatment and waste treatment facilities. They still have to meet the requirements of their consumptive use to be in compliance with their permit. You can't pull out more than what you're sustainably treating in terms of being conscious to our environment. So we're now selling virtual credits. Cooper City, we got $3 million to help their needs. Hollywood, $10 million. Or was it 7? A lot of millions of dollars, right? But that came from listening to our staff and coming up with alternative ways and alternative revenue sources to help meet the needs of the city. And that's why I like the CARE program. So now we're beginning to plan for our future. Where are we going to go as a community? What will Miramar look like? But for us to plan for our future, we have to define what we're planning for, right? These are just some of our challenges and some of our opportunities. Some we've already begun to work on, but some we still have to come up with solutions to deal with. I'll start out first with our escalating personnel costs with the City of Miramar. We have pensions we have to keep solvent because we have state-required funding of those pension plans. If their investment performers don't meet the targets, the city has to fill that gap to ensure that their pensions are available when they retire, and rightfully so. Public safety. The City of Miramar, we still need more police officers. When you compare the size of our city, which is approaching 150,000 residents, and when you compare them to comparable cities, we need a few more police officers. We have collective bargaining coming up with our general employees, fire, and police. And those topics are important, and we have to make sure that we have the solutions to meet those needs. How are we engaging our youth? We have a lot more development to do there. We do have some programming and some things in place, but there's a lot more because we have some bright kids in our community, and we have to make sure that we are investing in them. We have to become a smart city. I'm not saying that we're a dumb city. No. Smart city is just using information technology to drive decisions. We're not making decisions based off of perception, but actual data, the reality of what's really going on. Traffic is always a challenge in the city of Miramar, and South Florida in general, because everyone wants to drive one person in one car no matter where we go. Mass transportation just does not exist in South Florida, and we have to solve that, not only locally, but regionally. Disruptive industries. We're a corporate leader, but guess what? Our corporate residents are constantly under threat by disruptive industries that is looking to put them out of business. Whether they survive or not, we have to ensure that whoever wins the battle, that they're still choosing Miramar. So we have to make the right investments. We have a changing demographic. We're getting a little older. We're not as young as we used to be. And affordable housing we talked about. So how are we addressing some of these challenges and opportunity? I mentioned earlier about the Economic Development Fund. The Miramar City Commission adopted the Economic Development Fund to provide a funding mechanism to meet the economic development needs in our community. So whether it's providing a mom and pop grant, helping residents improve their homes, helping businesses do interior build-outs. We just broke ground just a few weeks ago. You saw on previous videos and slides where we were able to help a local business in East Miramar in improving his commercial development to make it more ADA compliant and provide covered walkways that's going to make, his facility more attractive for tenants, to create more small businesses. And that's what we're supposed to do, because we don't have a CRA. A CRA allows many communities like Miami, Hollywood, Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, where they can take tax increment. Instead of paying it to the county and the school board, all of those millions of dollars stays in that district where they can use to invest in that geographic area to provide incentives to solve their challenges. We don't have that here in Miramar. And the state of Florida is not going to allow them anymore, and Broward County definitely is not going to allow it anymore, because we're taking tax dollars from them, right? So we have to not sit back and say, well, sit in this quagmire that how are we going to solve these challenges? So this Economic Development Fund is helping us address many of these challenges. In terms of transportation, traffic, and infrastructure, guess what? It's coming, autonomous vehicles. You might say you're never getting one, but I'll check back with you in 10 more years and see, right? Right now, today, Uber, Lyft, they're developing these small vehicles and caravans that are driverless that will respond to your requests. How do I know? I sat in one 2 years ago in a visit at Silicon Valley. It is coming. So what are we going to do in Miramar? Will our roads be able to handle that navigation? Does our zoning accompany that? Right? What's going to happen to the millions of Uber and Lyft drivers who will no longer have a job? Right? We have to start thinking about these things. Electric vehicles. The city of Miramar, we have a few EV stations. I don't think we have any Tesla stations, but we have to be more strategic to make those available as an option to be attractive. Adaptive signalization. How many times you sat on an intersection on Miramar Parkway, there was no cross traffic and you're just sitting there waiting for the light to change, right? Well, Broward County is working on improving that, because Broward County, not the city of Miramar, programs and maintains traffic signals in our city. But this advancement will help allow traffic to move and flow better in our streets. We are anticipating the Pembroke Road extension to US 27 to provide another artery to help us in terms of traffic relief on the west side of town. 5G deployment, it's right around the corner. So the city of Miramar, we've lost control as a municipality on where these utilities will be placed. We've been preempted by the state. But that doesn't mean that we have to have an adversarial relationship with telecom. We can work aggressively with them to make sure that they are strategically placing these 5G boxes so that you can have the best and fastest communication. I know this may be geek speak, but 5G is basically a very high frequency that carries information in your handheld devices. It'll soon be your washer and dryer. You'll be at work and say, gosh, I forgot to turn the oven on, and you can do a little program and put your turkey to roast. That's cool, isn't it, right? But guess what? The city of Miramar today has to start making the provisions so that you can have the peace of mind that dinner will be ready when you get home from work. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. Solar farms, well, we're going to put that out, right? Right now, met with staff to talk about how do we reduce our energy costs at our wastewater treatment plant and our water treatment plant that burns a lot of energy. How can we get off the grid? Let's look to see if we can put PV panels on our roofs or somewhere so we can lower your costs to operate them. How do we remain a corporate leader? Well, we must be a city of innovation. We have to continue to diversify our economy. We have to put into effect our innovation zone. Venture capital. Silicon Valley has 90% of the venture capital in the United States. It's a shame South Florida as a region is not more aggressive. Think about that. When you have universities like University of Miami, Florida Atlantic University, FIU, Nova Southeastern University, Broward College, we have the intellectual capital here. And when you think about all the corporations, we're the gateway to the Caribbean and Latin America. I believe Miramar can be the first city to say that we will be the city that will embrace intellectual thought, that will solve problems of society, working with our academic community and these very smart people that live right here in our city and in our region. There's not one city in all of South Florida where you can see the evidence of a coordinated, intentional plan to attract entrepreneurs, people with big pockets and money to invest in it, because that's all rich people do is look to see how they can buy businesses, build businesses, and start new ones like Facebook, like Amazon. We can do that here in Miramar. But will we be committed to do so? So that's my challenge for all of us. We can do that, especially when we have the corporate population that we have and our reach in our locale. We have to not only think big, we have to think and dream the impossible. The AWD District. The AWD District, Arts, Workforce, and Entertainment Districts. That includes Red Road, Town Center, Anson Sports Complex, the Miramar Park of Commerce, all of our parks of commerces, where all of our jobs are being created. Entertainment is this very building. The amphitheater. Anson. We already have these assets. All we have to do is brand it, bring the programming to it, and bring it alive as a city. But we have to be intentional about the way we go about doing it. And we have to finally challenge our corporate residents. They're sitting fat right now. They got Trump tax cuts, right? Right? Very profitable. But guess what? You think FedEx knew that Amazon was coming? You think Walmart knew Amazon was coming? They started out as a bookstore, online bookstore. And look at them now, dominating globally. So we have to challenge our property owners. They have these wonderful industrial parks. Most of them are single story, but they need to start thinking going vertical, because guess what? Their current tenants are going to lose the battle. It's inevitable. They will lose their competitive battle. Someone is going to replace them. And whoever replaced them, they're going to have space needs. They're going to have logistic needs. They're going to have information technology needs. And our property owners need to have the facilities to accommodate them. So our city manager and staff, we've already started speaking to them to start thinking about that. So what does that mean as a city? Do we have to visit our land use code to accommodate some of these changes? These are the things we have to think about. What does that mean to PD and how they protect these new facilities? What does it mean to fire rescue? What does it mean to our building department? Believe it or not, we have corporate clients that come here and their demands, the Florida Building Code is silent. They have engineering challenges and solutions that they're bringing in that there isn't a building code to address it. So do we just sit back and say, well, we don't have a code for it, so it can't come here? No, we want that business. We want that innovation. That's how we have to think. Technology and innovation. In East Miramar, we're aggressively looking at an innovation and technology village. You'll learn a little bit more about that coming up. We have to embrace technology and innovation because it will play the key role in the evolving demands of society, and we must embrace it. Sense of place, this is very important because now that we're becoming a mature city, we've already grown, now we're into redevelopment, but if you really think about it, Miramar, we really don't really have like a place you can say like is an arts district or innovation district or, we don't have a sense of place. So we have a clean slate and we can make our city whatever we want to make it. by intentionally driving certain activities, whether it's entertainment, whether it's commerce, to these areas, and we brand them. The great news is that the activity is already taking place. We have all these wonderful biomedical companies here, information technology companies here, aviation companies here. Let's brand them. Because when we brand them and promote who's there, their competitors are going to want to be next door to them. Their supply chain is going to want to be near them, which means it's going to attract them here. So what's next? I'm not going to go over every bullet, but I'm going to challenge you to imagine. Imagine all of the things that we just talked about in terms of our opportunities and challenges. Imagine us solving each and every one of them. What city can touch us? Think about that. By solving these challenges. I want to give you a glimpse of what it can look like. So here's the district. That's Red Road. It doesn't look like it, but it is. That's what Red Road will look like 20 years from now if we act today. That's the potential. State Road 7. In conversations now with folks that are looking for development opportunities to see how they can bring alive State Road 7 mixed-use development on a major corridor in our city. The Innovation and Technology Village, downtown historic Miramar. This is important because when corporations are looking for a city, they need to know they have the human capital to make them successful. So we have to prepare our youth, our workforce, our residents, and give them the tools and the technology skills to add value to these corporations. And that technology village can do that. We're currently right now working with the Palm Beach, not Palm Beach, but the Broward School District, FIU, current property owners along Miramar with the Publix and the adjacent properties to see how we can bring that to life, creating a brand new downtown historic East Miramar with the transit hub with Broward County providing the transit artery and resources. It's the reality that can be. So Miramar, when I ask you to imagine, this is not fiction. This is a reality that can take place and will take place. So we have to challenge ourselves to come out of the norm. The mayor cannot think about as much, perhaps, events. But what are the hard, heavy lifting things we have to do, the people we have to talk to, working with the Miramar City Commission, our staff, and our residents to do the things that are necessary to make this a reality. That's what makes me motivated. That's what gets me excited. I won't be the mayor here 15 years from now. The current commission won't be here 15 years from now. But 15 years from now, each of us can look back and say, we stood side by side, arms locked, and made the tough decisions together with our residents, with our corporate community, and our city staff to bring this to life. So Miramar, I can stand before you today and say that the state of our city is strong as it's ever been. And we will be much stronger when we work together to imagine a Miramar that can service the future of Miramar. God bless you. Thank you for coming out.